Welcome back to the Books Bible Study. We are continuing with Genesis chapter 39. Hope you all are still going strong with this. Also, invite other people to join you on this journey. Um, Most of the reading doesn't take that long. We haven't gotten into the longer chapters yet, so it's still about 10 to 15 minutes a chapter. We're doing this twice a day, once at 8. The video is up in case you don't make it for 8 a.m. and then also at 7 p.m. We're only doing 2 chapters a day. We want to have that time to meditate on it, to see how this reflects in our own lives, how it applies to us, the answers that we find. Hopefully, we have the opportunity to apply the answers to our lives. Also, we're learning how to pray, right? Just going through the Bible, you see where some ailments, some situations that we didn't think that it could be the reason for it. We're learning how to pray with the solution that the Bible gives us. So every situation we could ever have, it is in the Bible. There's not one situation that is not written in there. So when you find yourself in the Bible, um, look for the solution for the situation, right? It'll always be there. So Genesis chapter 39, verse 1. Now Joseph had been taken down to Egypt, and Potiphar, an officer of Pharaoh, captain of the guard, an Egyptian, bought him from the Ishmaelites who had taken him down there. Remember, his brothers sold him, right? So we just talked about Judah and his sons and what happened with him. Now we are at the point back to Joseph. So where we left off with Joseph, his brothers had sold him. So verse 2 says, "The Lord was with Joseph, and he was a successful man, and he was in the house of his master the Egyptian." Verse 3. "And his master saw that the Lord was with him, and that the Lord made all he did to prosper in his hand." So this was God's promise to prosper them. We saw all the people in the land surrounding Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and now Joseph. They all saw that God was with these men, right? Verse 4. "So Joseph found favor in his sight and served him. Then he made him overseer of the house, and all that he had he put under his authority." So Joseph is in control of everything that Potiphar has. Okay. Verse 5. "So it was, from the time that he had made him overseer of his house and all that he had, that the Lord blessed the Egyptian's house for Joseph's sake," right? "And the blessing of the Lord was on all that he had in the house and in the field," right? So pay attention to that. We often ask and sometimes even covet what the wicked have. Why are they prospering? Why does it seem like they can do wrong and they're still prospering? Have you thought about that maybe they have somebody righteous on their payroll, right? They have somebody righteous in their corner. Okay, that's how. It's not because of their goodness, right? But he laid charge everything into Joseph's hands, so it had no choice but to prosper because the favor of God was on Joseph. If you are sitting at a job and you're seeing how much they're giving, how much favor they're having, and they're wicked, is because you are there, right? And when you leave, the favor may not remain there. Okay, so if you're waiting for somebody to get caught or something to happen because you're around wicked people, it's because you're there. The same way with Lot. God was not going to destroy Sodom until he left, right? So think about that. Verse 6. "Thus he left all that he had in Joseph's hand, and he did not know what he had except for the bread for which he ate. Now Joseph was handsome in form and appearance." Verse 7. "And it came to pass after these things that his master's wife cast longing eyes on Joseph, and she said, 'Lie with me.'" So there comes a time in all of our lives where we have to make a choice. And we see in previous chapters, they did not make good choices, right? So what did Joseph, the favored son, do? Verse 8. "But he refused and said to his master's wife, 'Look, my master does not know what is with me in the house, and he has committed all that he has to my hand.' Verse 9. "There is no one greater in this house than I, nor has he kept back anything from me but you, because you are his wife. How then can I do this great wickedness and sin against God? So he was not just concerned about sinning against his master with his wife. He did not want to sin against God. So when your reason is more about a person than your reverence and your fear and your awe that you have of God, you may end up answering that temptation, right? Verse 10. So it was, as she spoke to Joseph day by day, this was not just one time, okay? Day by day, that he did not heed her to lie with her or to be with her. So how many of you have had to deal with persistent temptations, right? You have to hold on. You have to be steadfast. You have to set your face like a flint and not be so easily moved. This woman was after him every day, okay? And he did not respond to her. He did not give in to her advances. Verse 11. But it happened about this time when Joseph went into the house to do his work, and none of the men of the house was inside. Take somebody with you. Always have a witness, right? Verse 12. That she caught him by his garment, saying, lie with me. But he left his garment in her hand and fled and ran outside. So now she's trying to force him to lie with her. Okay, verse 13. And so it was, when she saw that he had left his garment in her hand and fled outside, 14, that she called to the men of her house and spoke to them, saying, see, he has brought into us a Hebrew to mock us. He came in to me to lie with me, and I cried out with a loud voice. Really, lady? Really? Verse 15. And it happened when he heard that I lifted my voice and cried out, that he left his garment with me and fled and went outside. So this is a solution, okay? Those of you that are accused of things and you know that you're being tempted by a person, you need to have a witness, because nobody was there to be a witness to say, no, she went after him, right? So if you know you are one of the people that seem to be accused for something that you're not doing, keep your witness around, okay? Verse 16. So she kept his garment with her until his master came home. Verse 17. Then she spoke to him with words like these, saying, the Hebrew servant whom you brought to us came in to me to mock me. Verse 18. So it happened, as I lifted my voice and cried out, that he left his garment with me and fled outside. Verse 19. So it was, when his master heard the words which his wife spoke to him, saying, your servant did to me after this manner, that his anger was aroused. Y'all, an accuser knows how to stir up anger. An accuser knows how to stir up whichever emotion is needed for you to believe them. Okay? Verse 20. Then Joseph's master took him and put him into the prison, a place where the king's prisoners were confined, and he was there in the prison. Verse 21. But the Lord was with Joseph and showed him mercy, and he gave him favor in the sight of the keeper of the prison. Favor wherever he goes, right? Verse 22. And the keeper of the prison committed to Joseph's hand all the prisoners who was in the prison. Whatever they did there, it was his doing. Wherever Joseph went, he was a leader. He was in a leadership position over his brothers. He was the one watching over his brothers, right? He was a born leader. Verse 23. The keeper of the prison did not look into anything that was under Joseph's authority, because the Lord was with him, and whatever he did, the Lord made it prosper. If this sounds like you, right? Wherever you go, whatever job you have, you're always put in a position of authority. Keep your integrity. Do not fall for the temptation. And the temptation may not be a woman. It may not be a man. It may be money. It may be influence. It may be power. Do not release your integrity for the sake of whatever it is that is tempting you, right? Because he was favored by God. That means even if you're in a bad situation, he was in prison, but he was put over the prisoners. So that means even in your bad situation or your seasons of trial, you still will be favored by God more than others, right? But keep your integrity, right? keep that favor so that when you're up, it's good. And when you're down, it's still good, right? Because you are favored by God. So that concludes chapter 39. We will continue with chapter 40. Hopefully, you stay with us until we complete all 66 books. God bless.